All right, our TD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 evening talk show. Excited to be back for another live stream and a lot of things worthy of talking about. We're going to be talking a lot about the digital taxation that's underway. And looks like this Friday, the G7 will be meeting to figure out how to control this cryptocurrency mania that's going on through taxation. So we'll see how they look to attack that and roll out some regulation probably this summer officially as the mania continues. And then also got some information I want to share about the SWIFT system and how they are seeming to up the ante in the digital world as well. And so I appreciate those in the Discord community, TB, as well as all the other guys that contributed articles throughout the day that I'm going to be touching on. And also, of course, we got the impeachment underway. I glanced at 4 hours of just looks like a lot of script read, information shared of nothing of true substance. But once again, it always makes you wonder what exactly and why exactly are they looking to impeach someone who's not in power, or is he still? So we're going to touch on that, man. But before I dive any further, I want to make sure I welcome any new viewers to the channel. Feel free to let me know where you're watching from via the chat. And then also, I want to make sure I acknowledge a couple people for taking time to join in the chat. So the goal is, as always, to provide an opportunity for you guys to share your voices. And I noticed after yesterday, especially, I did too much ranting. And so I apologize for that. So I'm going to just share my spiel as quickly as I can. And then I want to open up the phone lines because I missed a lot of phone calls yesterday, and I apologize for that. But also, as I mentioned, shifting things a little bit, trying to shake things up and make it more short and concise. And so what I'm looking to do actually tonight at 8:30, we're going to have a little bit of the Patreon gang get together and just talk about matters in a more in-depth, unfiltered script. So if you guys are interested in doing so, I'd encourage you to become a Patreon supporter by clicking the link in the description. And you can join us either face-to-face, call in, or whatever you prefer. And we'll be going a lot longer and trying to, really do more than just scan the surface. And so I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. And then also, before I dive further into the article, I want to make sure you guys are aware of how to connect beyond just YouTube, because YouTube is doing a good job of censoring. So not everyone gets notified, and I hear about it often. So there's nothing I can do about it using a free service for the most part. But make sure you guys connect on the Discord page. And so if you just click the link below this video here, you'll see all the links where RTD videos and thoughts throughout the day is shared. But the Discord is the most active for the community members to share articles and thoughts or whatnot, and some of the videos of your favorite content creators as well that's relevant to what we're talking about here. So make sure you guys go join that, and you won't miss out throughout the day. So let me dive right into acknowledging a couple people, as well as giving it some time for people to tune in. And so we got Simon. It says, Mike, you're blessed and highly favored in love. Lord bless you and keep you safe and shine upon you and be gracious to you and give you his shalom. Well, Simon, man, I appreciate that, my friend. Definitely, it's good to be blessed and highly favored. So thank you for those kind words. We got Ata says, yo, we got G Graham from Shasta, California. How you doing, my friend? We got Ralph G, if I'm not mistaken. We got Kenneth in the building. We got Johnny, says Litecoin is popping. Okay, we can get in the crypto space as well. I haven't been looking at the markets, and so not surprised there. What else we got here? We got Jim Diggs. We got Captain Munch in the building. We got Will Smith. Hold on. Okay, so let's dive right in, man. And so let me get right to the topic matter of the evening. And of course, when it's time to open up the phone lines, feel free to chime in, whatever you guys want to talk about. But this caught my attention earlier. I think I'm not sure who. I think it might be Daryl, might be Tony. Not sure if I'm giving credit to the wrong person for sharing this in the Discord. Forgive me, but I came across this, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is right on time. So let's just touch on this tonight, and we can lead off of this. But the G7 tax man is coming for your crypto profits. And so it's one of the things that it's been relatively vague up to this point as to how they're going to look to discourage the adoption push by the Michael Saylors and the Elon Musk and all those individuals that are drawing attention to a asset outside and beyond the current financial paradigm. And so I actually listened to Michael Saylor earlier today on Crypto Banter. And he said something that really, whenever Michael Saylor speaks, he happens to be the leading advocate for Bitcoin. And he's a man and a company that's put his money where his mouth is. And he mentioned how he basically highlighted some of the digital benefits, or the benefits rather, of like Bitcoin in particular, and basically saying that the regulators have already stated that it is not currency, it is not money, it is an asset in the form of an actual property, or it's labeled as property, and he calls it digital property. And so he was saying that as of right now, they've already set the precedent as to what they want to categorize it as. Now it's going to be a matter when it comes to this taxation here. How will they categorize all the other altcoins or whatnot? Because those are the ones that may or may not be lumped into the digital property format that is similar to real estate, stocks and bonds and all those other assets that are not actually referred to as currency. So we will see as time moves forward, but it was always my opinion that they would not stand by and watch people profit off of this transition into a digital economy, especially given the fact that they're still claiming to attempt to roll theirs out. But it looks like the SWIFT system is already adopting some things that make it more of a faster network, and they're partnering with the Chinese PBOC, which lets me know that they're probably going to be linking up the digital yuan and the SWIFT and the Fed coin or digital dollar sometime in the near future. So we're going to touch on that. But if you guys are interested, I will encourage you to read more through this. But a lot of things stood out here, and this all stems from a article that came out as of, I think, the end of last week from the Prime Minister of Japan, who is the one that is really trying to get this thing started, because I would assume in Japan, them being a smaller country, but yet very technologically advanced, a lot of a lot of people over there rather use the cryptocurrency blockchain space. So that's really big in Japan. And I think they're far further ahead in that adoption push in that region there, given the fact that Japan has been dealing with their own issues for several decades now. And the youth over there have really ramped up the use of Bitcoin and other coins in commerce. And so they are suffering big time. So they're like, hey, we need to come to a global agreement on how we're going to tax this. And so in this article here, it lays out some information this was just worth talking about, but it all points back to, as it says here, this February 12th, the G Summit will be meeting, which consists of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States, to streamline its crypto taxation policy after the Japanese finance minister, Taro Aso, was quoted by the Reuters as stating that the implementation of digital taxation and central bank digital currency would be on the agenda when world leaders met in Britain later this week. So it looks like he has been the one that has been utilized to create the narrative of the need to begin taxing this crypto space. And so we're going to see what comes out of that later on this week. And of course, whether or not it gains momentum, whether or not there's actually governing bodies that can enforce it, that's a whole nother story, but it is in the works. And so along with that, we have more information here about the Japan finance minister, really kicking this off. But then one thing I want to mention that was brought to my attention is the fact that the SWIFT system, which has been the anchor for the Federal Reserve note and its role as reserve currency, because everything denominated in Federal Reserve terms go through the SWIFT system when you're doing international transactions, and it's all filtered through ultimately the too big to fail banks. And so it looks like SWIFT sets up a joint venture with China's central bank. So we got the SWIFT system, which is a U.S. controlled entity, partnering with the PBOC. And of course, the PBOC, what better way can they actually gain in this whole process other than to figuring out how to coordinate and to link up the digital yuan at some point down the line. And so a lot of information is coming out about the SWIFT updating its system to make it more, I guess, as they say, transparent, more faster and things of that nature. And so here we have another article that was shared via TB. Appreciate it, my man. Says the digital transformation of cross-border payments. And of course, we know everything is heading digital. And so it looks like the rollout of this, as it says here, the SWIFT GPI isn't a proof of concept. It is tried and tested by a community of over 4,111 or 18 plus financial institutions. And so it says everyday banks send equivalent of 327 billion in value via the GPA, global payment Let me see, the Global Payment, what is it? An initiative, Global Payment Initiative. And so here's a list of all the banks that have signed up and are participating in this new issuance or rollout of a much faster, as they say, transparent, all those other things, payment system. And of course, I assume at this current moment, it's all denominated in Federal Reserve notes, but we know all these central banks that are part of the G7 and everything else is looking to bring about their own CBDC. So eventually, all these banks here will probably be incorporating or adapting or rolling over to their CBDCs in conjunction with the Federal Reserve System. Or, as I mentioned always before, 5-10 years down the line, the goal is to have all of the CBDCs probably on one blockchain and able to interact with one another, creating that one world unified global payment network at some point. And so this is just something worthwhile here. But then again, to find out more what the SWIFT GPI is all about, here's an article here from BBVA, which came out 2 years ago. And so here it just talks about some of the ideas behind the Global Payment Initiative and what it's aimed to do. And it says, what is the payment carried out? When is the payment carried out? It says payment is effective on the same day the payment process is initiated. So we know with the SWIFT process, the way it's been for the last several decades, it takes 3, 4, 5 days, and you got to get all types of permission from different intermediaries along the way. And so this here is a lot faster. And it says how much did it cost to make the payment? It says basically the payment will be transparent on the ledger there, so you'll be able to see it from start to finish what the cost will be. And it says, where is the payment? It says the status of the payment situation with respect to correspondent banks is available at all times. The traceability is possibly due to the unique end-to-end transaction reference, a unique reference associated with each payment. So in a sense, their own form of a ledger, so-called public ledger in the form of some type of blockchain or a deal or something of that nature. So, this is what's happening in the digital sphere, man. But I think what's most interesting for a lot of people in the community is the taxation man. And so, of course, after this week, we're going to have some FUD out there to probably try to impact the markets and to cause somewhat of a hiccup. But we'll see if they'll be able to pull that off or not. And so I'm curious to hear what you guys think, because I'm of the mindset that, as I mentioned always before, that right now the markets are going haywire. Right now, market mania, everything is going through the roof. And of course, too many people are profiting off of this. And there's no way of holding people accountable for how much they're profiting in nominal terms. And so everyone, of course, if they get out in dollars, and they've done a lot of damage to being able to pay off debt, buy them all types of, astronomical things like Lambos and things like that. And so they need to see what and how and what you're doing. And so that's why this is going to become a more of a pressing issue for a lot of people. And I want to make sure you guys stay up to date with what's going on. So enough of me ranting. I got everything out that I wanted to say, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know if this is something that you guys are even really considering, or some people might say it's too late. But once again, we'll see. So give me a call, 313-462-0027. I want to hear from you guys. And I see in the chat here, I said Nasara's wishful thinking. Just Nasara. Once again, I think that was led by, if I'm not mistaken, Charlie Ward, who is a content creator, suspect in nature. And the whole quantum financial system situation. Once again, it was all stuff to give people hope that there would be some type of radical change in the system. But as of now, everything is on course in accordance to the way I believe it was always meant to be. But I could be wrong. So let me hear from you guys. So, all right, man, enough ranting. I apologize. I'm going to shut my mouth and let you guys talk, because I've been ranting too much and I've already missed 4 or 5 calls. So forgive me. Give me a call back and I'll get you on here, 313-462-0027. And also, if you guys are enjoying the chat as well as just a little rants or whatnot, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. And then also, as I mentioned, we go on Patreon tonight. So if you want to join the Unfiltered Talk, longer sessions, more personal interaction, feel free to join the Patreon group. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, it's Barlight Broker from the internet.
How you doing, my friend? Give me your thoughts on this digital taxation stuff or whatever else is on your mind, man.
Well, Well, this is a really good subject. I noticed some things last year. I wanted to call in and tell you that in 2020 they implemented the Beast system.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you sell anything online on any platform, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Amazon, anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter if it's your cousin's retro pair of Air Jordans, your son's friend's bicycle, your old comic book collection. You could have bought a diamond ring for 10 grand and had to sell it for $800 to pay your rent.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. You will be getting a 1099K in the mail from such platforms.
Okay. That's interesting.
$600 or more, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once you hit the $600 mark, then you get it. I just wanted to fill everybody in and tell them what's going on, and that good old B system, it's here to stay.
Hey, man, I appreciate you for giving us that update. I was not aware of that. And, of course, I think that's why there's going to be increasing push for more decentralized, private exchanges, as well as shopping platforms on some of these blockchain type networks pretty soon, to prevent the collection of data as well as the accumulation of transaction history or whatnot in a public sense, to avoid things like this in the future. So we'll see what comes about. I'm sure there's already platforms out there, but I appreciate you for sharing that, my friend. Go ahead.
Here's another thing, Mike. They knew COVID was planned. I don't know if it actually exists or not, but it definitely was planned.
Mm-hmm.
All of these big companies, they made major changes while this was happening. Normally, if you had a business and you were having your busiest time in the world,
Mm-hmm.
you would wait until you slowed down, till business slowed down before you took on a monumental task of such proportions.
Yeah.
Somehow, they managed to do all this in the dark. Nobody even knew it until, I think, November. And then they sprung it on everybody. But, it's one thing to have a business and sell things online. It's another to where you've already paid taxes on your money and basically been robbed and extorted and lied to. And then you're desperate for money, so you sell off some of your personal possessions. And then somebody like these scoundrels comes along and say, hey, you owe us. Look, here's a tax document. It's just, it's unbelievable, really.
Yeah. The goal is to make sure you own nothing and you're happy with it. So they need to steal every single thing you got through taxation and, of course, the abasement of the currency. So, hey, man, I appreciate the insights, man. Thanks for calling in.
No problem, Mike. Have a good night.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, man. Taxation, the goal is to drain you dry. We know how and why and what they're doing. So, yeah, of course, I got my opinions on that. The best thing is to be aware of all this information and figure out how you're going to navigate around it, of course, lawfully, by the way. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Baldwin Park, California.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, my friend?
I don't have more of a question. I have more of a comment, so
Okay.
kind of like a theory.
Go ahead,
for
give it to me.
I'm sure you keep up with the news and all, but Janet Yellen just had a meeting with the Federal Reserve and the FCTC or the commodities. I don't know how to. I forgot the wording.
Yeah, CFTC.
But what about that?
Go ahead.
What do you think they're talking about? Like, what do you think the whole meeting was about? I don't think it was about GameStop. I think this is a much bigger deal.
Oh, of course not. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I have a feeling. And this is just a theory, and I might sound crazy, but I think they're making a deal between countries, and like in secret meetings, and they're gonna make a currency kind of like the Ethereum network, where you can make a contract and send it, and they're gonna back it up with commodities like silver, like things like that, so that they can say it's backed by something real, and at the same time raise the price. Yeah.
Hey, good point there. And as you're talking this through, I'll put it on the screen here. Janet Yellen calls the top regulators meeting to discuss GameStop volatility. And so my initial thought is the fact that this whole GameStop Wall Street bets was an inside operation done by the big money players to bring about this current conversation, to make it appear as if there's some type of regulation or restructuring of the current investing model that needs to be done to protect the so-called retail investors. But in actuality, I believe it has to do with the fact that the old equities models is no longer viable because of the over in price of stocks. You can't tell what's what. So I think they're probably looking to issue some type of, and we even had one of the politicians talking about the need to utilize the blockchain as a way of providing transparency. So to your credit, I do believe that they will be coming out with something that will transition the whole equities market, stocks and everything of that nature into a blockchain tokenization of certain shares of companies and whatnot. And they're going to tout it as saying that it's public, it's private, you can see it, so we can trust it. In actuality, it's a system that they're rebranding for the financial system itself. So it's not to profit, it's not to help the small people. It's basically a way of transitioning power into the hands of the too big to fail banks again and the financial institutions. So they're basically going to tokenize the equity market as well as bonds, and anything else that has any type of physical property will be on that blockchain of some kind. So I think that is the case.
Can I mention?
Yep, go
ahead.
Can
I mention one thing?
Go ahead.
All right. I'm not sure too well about the details, but I think Microsoft was investing in the Ethereum platform, and he's also buying a lot of the farmland in America.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, hey, once again, as I've always said before, I've always been a skeptic of how the last 10 years has become a digital transition, excitement, and mania because of something called, as is right here, the Bitcoin thing here. Whole push to go digital was a part of the plan. They needed something to get us excited for it. And it happens to be this decentralized cryptocurrency, stuff like that, which has taken on a life of its own. But also, at the end of the day, after this regulation stuff plays out, I think they believe that they're going to be the ones winning in the end at the expense of the people. So it's all a part of the plan, I believe. So we'll see if it is or if it's not, but time will tell. But it looks like, I think that they think they're on track to usher in this new world agenda.
It's scary because you see Bill Gates and all these big corporations working together with the WHO and China and the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
And they're all talking about socialistic, ideas, spreading the wealth, spreading commodities that you'll own less.
Yeah.
And I see the writing on the wall, and I'm scared.
hey man,
but,
I appreciate the call, though, man.
So.
Thanks for calling and sharing your thoughts, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi there. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
My name's Greg. I'm calling from Spokane, Washington. Hey, I just wanted to bring your attention to a video that appeared on the internet here. And the reason why I'm saying it ties the whole plan together. It shows the genocide. In fact, they have a small clip of looks like a UPS guy in a warehouse the size of Costco, full of body bags, boxes stuffed to the ceiling, and they're starting to move them out. But anyway, this video site is called stateoftheNation.co/?P equals 51461. And what's interesting about it is that they show both the swab test with those long sticks, and then they talk about the vaccine, and they show the patents and what each one does. But one thing that really caught my attention that I don't think anyone has discussed yet is like when they can get DNA, they normally just swab it off your cheek on the inside of your gum. So why are they sticking these long stick things way down through your nose in your nasal cavity? Because right behind where they're and notice how they twist it once they hit that area. It's a small thin bone that separates the nasal passages from the brain.
Right. And
on it, they showed that there's nanoparticles inside these tips, and these nanoparticles actually grab and adhere to the membrane. And then the 5G liquefies the outside of it, and it melts into it. And they show the patents of what these nanoparticles are here.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go too much further into it. But
watch this.
it's something.
that information is interesting, and that link was very long. Put it in the chat for me, and I'll try to get to it later. But this type of information here, because how in depth it is, I don't really want to go any further on this, but we'll do it on the unfiltered side. But definitely, people are waking up to how everything is not what it is on the surface. So I appreciate you for sharing that, man. So put that link in the chat for me, and then people can go click on it if they're interested and find out more. But thanks for that in depth.
It's an hour and a half thing, so you got to put the time to it. But I won't say anything more. I'll let you go. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Thanks,
appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So that's a mouthful right there, man. Like and so once again, take it for what it's worth. But yeah, when people call and share insight like that, I gotta listen because at this current moment, believe nobody and find out things for yourself. You really can't trust none of these experts, none of these scientists. Because everybody's on the take these days. Everybody in this whole agenda push to build back better. They all have an assignment, and of course, we know the big tech, big pharma, and all those other companies are the ones that are being used to carry out this agenda. So, anyway, give me some more calls, man. Let's talk. A couple more minutes. We're gonna dial back and then get ready for the Patreon Unfiltered session tonight. So I want to make sure if you guys are interested in talking about things like that, unfiltered off the air, in a more personal manner, smaller groups, feel free to join us on the Patreon side. So, all right. So I see a lot of talks in the chat there. Funk Frank said, I thought I was a ultimate conspiracy theorist, or at least that's what my family said, but boy. And so Funk Frank, man. So when somebody calls in and shares stuff like that, take it as, a lie until you're willing to go prove them wrong. So I think when people put out that stuff that's far left field, I've been talking far left field. I even got my tinfoil hat here. You know what I'm saying? Like I go far left field because at this current moment, there's nothing that's off limits as far as it being something that somebody has put into motion. Because if the mind can conceive it, some fool out here working on it. And I bet you that there's a lot of things we can say now is nowhere near conspiratorial because it's actually coming true. You can't fly unless you got, a COVID pass on your phone, like all that stuff like that. 3 years ago, they've been like, it'll never happen here. Oh, really? And that's one of many other things. So at this point, nothing is too far left field. But anyway, okay, let's talk. Give me a call. I missed some more calls already. Ranting too much. Philman says, can you see Litecoin going to 50K in 3 years? Wow. Can I see Litecoin going to 50K? I can see every item on this list here on the screen going to some numbers that we would never have imagined in this current environment, or say 3 years ago during the last bull rally, because it's an indication of where fiat currencies have gone. And that means all the fiat currencies that we price these in, because of right now everything is priced in dollar terms. If Litecoin went to 50K, that's because a dollar is literally, example would be dollars would be in the streets type of thing. That's how worthless the Federal Reserve note would be, even more so, to where, sure, we can see like 46,000 for BTC is still cheap in comparison to the amount of total digital and physical paper units that's been created, especially, 30 to 40% of the entire money supply in Federal Reserve note terms has been created in 12 months. So think about, they do another 40%, another 40%, another 40%, the price of anything is there's no ceiling to how high something go nominal price, because there's no floor that's low enough that the dollar can't drop through. So that's just my opinion, man. But yeah, and I think, once again, I saw a lot of comments from last night chat about how Mike don't get it. Mike, he don't understand Bitcoin and he don't know crypto. I understand enough to realize that everything that's priced in Federal Reserve note terms, or pesos, or bolivars, or euros, those are being weaponized. So anything labeled as an asset, anything labeled that as a sponge, in a sense, is going to absorb all that liquidity that's already present and all the liquidity that's coming. And so at some point there will be a day of reckoning. And even having a $1 million Bitcoin is only as valuable as the amount of value you can get out of it when you go to put it in somebody else's possession. So depending on what's available and what's for sale, I think we'll probably be in a very destabilized environment to where you won't be able to get much bang for your buck as far as being able to get much things that you need on a daily basis, i.e. food, water, shelter. So my thought process would be, if you know that there's no ceiling to how high BTC can go, you might want to take advantage of some of those proceeds now and get some tangible, real assets of things that you need now and will need 4 or 5 years from now, so that you'll be able to have some a greater sense of a living standard along the way, as opposed to waiting to, cash out sometime down the line. Because, no one knows the future, and we know that one thing we do know is the Federal Reserve is not done yet. And from the video I did earlier today with Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell teaming up, their job is to finish the Federal Reserve note off as far as removing all the remaining purchasing power out of the physical and the old digital version of that to issue in the new Federal Reserve system. So, but anyway, okay. So I apologize, man. I ran it right through my time limit, but hope you guys had a chance to get some thoughts, process some things. And of course, the goal is always, prove me wrong. Feel free to go do some research for yourself, bring back the articles, put it in the comment section after this video is done here. And definitely, I love to have some back and forth, because once again, I'm just a man with an opinion, and I love sharing my thoughts on subject matter in regards to how it impacts our lives. So I am no expert. I'll be honest with you. I'm just a man with an opinion and a microphone in front of me. So, but I appreciate you guys for sharing your time with me. And if you've enjoyed the back and forth, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button, show your support. And also, for those that are interested, want to make sure you guys are on the Discord side of things, where we share articles and whatnot. And a lot of things I talk about comes from the Discord side. So I appreciate those that contribute over there. And to make sure, if you're on any of these other social media platforms, you check in there. And then also want to make sure you guys are aware of the fact that throughout the day, over on the RTD side, there's articles being shared all throughout the day. Cryptos, gold, silver, you name it, as well as my recommendations for interviews that I see that I think is worth your time. So check that out. And I want to leave it on the last note on the Patreon side. Tonight at 8:30, we have our Patreon Unfiltered Talk. So just become a member in any category, and you'll be able to join us face to face and hang out with us and just talk some of this stuff through, man. We're going to go far left field like we always do. So anyway, that is all she wrote for tonight. Be blessed, be safe. I will see you guys later, Lord willing. Peace.